So today, on screenshots, we're going to take a very comedic and respectful look at probably one of the biggest movies of the mid 1990s. For a lot of people who know of the modern Jim Carrey, the Jim Carrey of the family movies, the Jim Carrey of the spiritual side, the Jim Carrey of, the straight ahead comedic side. When he appeared in this movie, all bets were off the way comedy was presented, especially from what they call stand-ups. Of course, we're talking about the animalistic and hilarious Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Now, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was a 1994 American comedy film. Although Jim Carrey, he's Canadian today as long. Might as well say it's an American film, but run by a Canadian. In the movie, he plays the title character of Ace Ventura, who is a animal detective of all things, who is tasked with finding the abductive dolphin mascot of the Miami Dolphins football team, which has been stolen right after your appearance at the Super Bowl. Now, Ace Ventura is best described. It's almost like if you took the best aspects of a Mel Brooks character with an OCD child, Three Stooges, a little bit of Jerry Lewis, and the physical comedy of John Ritter all into one. Now, at the time, Jim Carrey was more well known about his, what they call these in-living color and what they call descriptive stand-up, where he would adjust his face to make different characters. He would kind of present a whole bunch of what they call thematic comedy, including everything from a Russian female bodybuilder to a very strange fundamentalist minister, or like he played himself on stage, where he was very personable. He wasn't as frantic as Howie Mandel. He had a method to his madness, and you can see this at Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective is best described as a combination of farce and film noir. Now, you're saying to yourself, why in the heck would Jim Carrey do a film noir comedy? And that's what it is. There's a incident that occurs early on where you know it's going to be a great comedy, but there's all the aspects of film noir. There's a mystery to be solved. There's you're trying to figure out through a rock of a Super Bowl ring that's found in the pool where the dolphin has been stolen, if this means more than what it means. And as any good gumshoe does, he goes through different methods to find out. A lot of it is comedic. I don't want to give away a lot of the sight gags because a lot of people either know them or haven't seen them. Some of the sight gags here are just friggin' tremendous, especially when he he has to go into a insane asylum to find out more about the Ray Finkel character, who could be the person possibly that stole the dolphin and is holding it for hostage. Now, the film was directed by Sham Shadak, who wrote the screenplay with Jack Bernstein and Carrey. Great supporting cast, including Courtney Cox from Friends, Tone Loc. They're very beautiful, and in this case, they're very well built. Sean Young, she kind of freaked out a lot of people because there's a very famous scene at the end of the movie where she's basically, wow, I didn't know Sean Young was that, Playboy-esque anyway. And former Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino. And a cameo appearance from the death metal band Cannibal Corpse, who actually is destroyed by a deleted scene on the DVD, but you have to see it for yourself. I don't think the band even was taken seriously after that the scene occurred. Now, the film spawned numerous sequels, including the less than stellar Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls in '95, the animated TV series Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and a standalone direct-to-video sequel, Ace Ventura Jr. Pet Detective. Now, the idea with this movie, they wanted to make something that had a wide appeal, and the production company really put it all together. Now, Morgan Creek, who was one of the mini big studios back then. Now, filmmakers really, they never had Carrey their first choice. Actually, Rick Moranis declined the role, and Judd Nelson and Alan Rickman were being considered as well. But and even Whoopi Goldberg, because the script was so strong, it could be changed over to a female detective with some, from some changes. And but the producers noted Jim Carrey's performance in Living Color, of course, and that's why he was cast. Now, a lot of the movie was improvised because the script itself was very strong, and some of the moments in this movie, they're very like a lot of children like this movie, like under age of 12. But this is not a kids' movie. There's a lot of sexual content. There's especially a very famous scene at the start. You have to see it where it looks like he's getting circular fellatio from a client. He brought the dog back. It has to be seen to be believed. And him and Courtney Cox have a very famous love scene, which anyway, with a bunch of animals in the background. But it's you have to see the movie to believe it. But if you have a chance, get the DVD with the deleted scenes, because some of the deleted scenes should have been kept in the movie. Now, and it did beautiful money at the box office, and it's still basically on the fence from certain critics. A lot of people felt it was one of the best comedy of the 1990s, but a lot of people believe it was just sophomoric. Roger Ebert hated it. He called it the long and funny slog through impenetrable plot. And, Roger Ebert usually is right, but in this case he was wrong. When I saw the movie initially, I said to myself, this is going to cause major problems. Sure enough, at schools across northern Brunswick, where I was from at the time, children were going up to teachers and their fellow students doing impersonations of Jim Carrey's character in this movie in a very sardonic way, like the term really. Not as a compliment, but as a sarcastic response to teachers, where the teacher would say, you got to go back to class, Johnny, and he'd go, really? And there's certain scenes in there where Carrey's character is literally talking out of his ass, and for a young child. But I think that the best bet to say this movie from start to finish has a great plot. I love the film noir elements. I love the comedic elements. I would have recasted Courtney Cox maybe with somebody, maybe a soap opera star like Rena Sofer, or somebody a little bit more, what do you call, aesthetically, she can expand on her character. Courtney Cox just basically plays a quieter version of her friend's character here. She's not considered a great actor. She's competent, but like I said. But I still wonder why you never cast enough names, because the Sean Young character is tremendous, but it'd be nice to see maybe a tribute actor to the old film noirs of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like Columbo or Barnaby Jones or whatever, or Mannix, to kind of round it out. So this movie, I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Again, it's not for everybody. I have to be honest with you, though. I don't think this movie could work in 2020, because at the time there was a lot of sexuality in movies that was very direct, and this is what this movie is. But Jim Carrey can basically say he was a 15-year overnight sensation. He started in the Canadian comedy circuit in the late 70s, did work for CBC, independent channels and stuff. Never got the recognition, did the U.S. television. Up until he got on Living Color, he reached his recognition perk. And with Ace Ventura, he is like, you could see the star. It's like a sun rising in the morning. The star just shone so heavy in this movie, and it hasn't stopped shining since. I still say, though, he left a lot of money on the table, because you have to understand, Dumb and Dumber and The Mask, the other two big hits for that year for him. He did one sequel, but he left millions and millions and millions of dollars on the table by not doing enough competent sequels to all three movies, but especially Ace Ventura. Imagine if you did Ace Ventura in Canada, in the Arctic. He's trying to save a polar bear from a bunch of French fur trappers. I mean, the story writes itself. Hey, what you doing on that ice floe with my bear? Why do you ask that? I'm Canadian, don't you know? Or something like that. I could just see it in my mind. I could write a script about Ace Ventura probably in 5 minutes, and maybe have him playing hockey and he's frozen snot coming down, and I didn't think it was going to be this cold. Well, it's Canada, I know, but anyway. But Ace Ventura's walk, his strut, is one of the greatest moments in movie history when you first see it. if you're looking at a top 20 comedic character in comedy movie history, Ace Ventura is that. He's top 20 for sure, if not higher. So on this beautiful February morning, we wish you a great day. And if you like my podcast, please give me a comment or thumbs up. But if you didn't like it or I bored you, I don't need you, so don't tell anybody. I'm a podcaster. Either you like it or you don't. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for my key fans, for my movie and TV columns over the years. And those are the ones I'm trying to reach. And one thing about Ace Ventura, he was the icon of the 90s. I think that we all need it. That's my opinion. Anyway, have a good day.